song, I feel like.
I'm just wondering what that is.
Just the bass.
Treadmill?
We're good, Mr. Mayor. Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Tuesday, November 16th, Nipissing Township Council meeting. Our start time has been delayed tonight to 6:45 due to other meetings that went longer, but you have our undivided attention now. So is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll go on to staff reports. And I have John Paul Megranati's, and I think we just received it. So John Paul is present, so if anybody has any questions.
Doing a lot of reviewing in computer software right now, doing some time just to make sure all the programs work. It's like doing in GPS systems, and traffic counters, all the good stuff.
So we should send some test emails to see if our emails are going through. Did you get a notice that they weren't, or how did you know they weren't going through?
No, just a couple of members, but like you'll know right away if you try to send an email.
Yeah.
It'll just say there's something wrong.
Okay.
It won't send it out. It's weird, wasn't every phone wrong?
Is that,
Wrong, but tell me.
was that with the new update?
Maybe, could be.
So the Hummel Bridge is sending you traffic now?
Well, they counted?
Yeah.
Well, we went and picked it up because we had to return it and we took the numbers off it, but I don't think they were right. I don't think the numbers there.
Pretty low,
No, they're pretty, really high.
really high.
Yeah, like 8,000 cars, they said, passed through there. in 2 months.
It's, Dan, was it the old style with the hose?
I don't think they had the program set right because he set, the company we got them through, they set the program. So I don't think they had the tires counting right. Because it's just off an air hose, what cars are over it.
Yeah, because usually that's eight,
Yeah, wow.
well, that's me, it would be 8,000 tires.
But he was supposed to set it up as, it takes that in consideration, but I don't think he did because there's no way 8,000 cars pass through there.
No, not,
How long was the period?
2 months.
I went through once, but anyway,
You're one of them.
perhaps not. And that's why we've deferred the counter on the agenda for later on.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, John Paul, and we were pulling the information off, it took us a bit to figure it all out, to get it to pull the information, but like I said, I don't think it was set right, because there's no way 8,000 cars passed through there in 2 months.
So you're gonna try to get something different.
Well, once we get, yeah, if we get the new counter and the speed radar with the counter in it, we'll set it there. And
it uses electronic eye.
that, yeah, it uses electronic guide, so it gives you your speed and it counts the cars going through also.
Sends it to your laptop.
Yeah, we can go download it. Well, we just go download it. We just stick a USB drive into it.
Was it set up while that fuel spill was on highway?
Yeah, I think it was. But
Or if that was an.
I don't think too much traffic come through there that way.
That's your way, I guess. it is.
I don't know.
They went a lot through Alderdale.
Alderdale,
Chisholm, and out 654.
5:34.
I don't know where, I don't know where the police was. I was up in moose season, so I wasn't around when that happened.
Yeah, they were kicking it all through Powassan, out 654, and I don't think too much came out that way.
5:34 and 6:54, like at foots.
Yeah,
From there in was bumper to bumper for,
Crazy.
Hard backing out to get it out.
oh yeah, you didn't want, yeah.
Well, in that case, now we've looked at, was there any questions, first of all, for John Paul? Because they kind of worked in league on this one, so I'll go to Operations Superintendent McGinnis if he has more to add.
Yeah, I was on holidays for a couple days, so that's why I don't have a staff report, but last couple weeks, everybody's been on holidays, deer hunting, so we've been down to 3 guys, so we put the wings and plows and got the sanders all going on the trucks, so they're all ready to go. So we've been kind of doing that, fighting with beavers. We've taken 8 out in the last week and a half. But it's a never ending battle. They're bad this year. Every township's battling beavers.
And before freeze up, they're
Yeah,
going nuts.
yeah,
Lots of water.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Wolf Lake's been a real pain, like we're always jamming that up. So someone let the water go on Ruth Lake and it flooded out Wolf Lake on Sunday a week or so ago. It's like the beavers had a dam there. We're opening it every other day.
Yeah.
I got the trapper going back to set at Wolf Lake, at the big culvert now.
Who's
so,
doing that?
Don Rumford.
Oh, yeah.
Probably make over the culvert in this, by the junk house there.
Yeah, we attempted it, but the water rained so hard and it flooded everything so bad. If we would open that road up, it would have just turned to mush. So we took the beavers out of that area, so the water has dropped significantly. So the road's staying solid. So it's just something we're gonna have to do next in the summer when it's dry. I mean, now that we've taken the beavers up, the road is not saturated and it's not moving as much. So I think we can get the winter through. We've got the culvert, so I mean, it's not like it's gonna go to waste. We'll put it there in the summer when it's dry.
The water's always high there.
Yeah, well, we've got it right down to the bottom of that ditch now. We've never seen it that low before, so. Yeah, we probably dropped it about 2.5 feet.
Any other questions for Dan? We'll move on to our Chief Bateman.
I have nothing tonight, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple things on the agenda later on.
Yes, you do. And Kris Croskery-Hodgins.
I submitted a written report with the council package because it was such a huge package. Clarify some of those items. That I have, we need to establish when we would like a public meeting date for the zoning bylaw amendment for trailers. We look at
We want to do that before Christmas? After?
Personally,
When
I'd
are we
like to
gonna
get it
catch
done with. It's been hanging around for a long time.
Well,
Just wondering if maybe we should hold off until January when we put it in the newsletter. So it gets out to everybody.
makes sense. I know a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people are interested in Christmas and Christmas shopping and everything like that. Getting just crazy.
We are getting quite a bit of inquiries about it. So, some from down south and
So we had 2 public meetings for the one way, so I believe that we should make sure that we do at least 1 large public meeting.
Yes, we should have one. So if we're getting lots of inquiries, maybe we should be looking at it sooner,
Are the,
before the weather gets.
are the inquiries good, like for next spring or winter camping or just in general?
probably for next spring. I don't think there was anything for this winter, but there's questions pro and against. So they would like to be heard. But they want to make sure that they're notified. How are you notifying us? How are you notifying us?
So the newsletter is going out with the tax bills. Everybody gets that. So we'll let everybody know.
Can we wait till January? That's the question.
Whether you're sending those out, I figure,
We send them out the 2nd or 3rd week of January.
we would be looking at
February.
February. It's getting on and on and on.
Yeah, it has been hanging around for a while, but that said,
people are kind of busy right now, but
People are always gonna be busy. Whether it's January, whether it's
Yeah,
December,
that's
whether it's
true.
February. It's too cold to have a meeting or what, there's always an excuse.
Yeah, and I wonder if some people are wondering if they should be moving them off this fall if they don't want to get a permit.
And again, I think it would be education to start this spring. We would never, go and start towing or ticketing people in the spring. We have to give them due notice,
Let you
so.
notice, yeah.
Absolutely.
But still, I know they always read their tax bills. That one I know for sure, because then they complain, but I mean, I don't know if there's another way of sending it out that we,
If we do a complete mail, that's very expensive.
Crazy, yeah, very crazy. Yeah. I think we should just do it in January. Just do it and get it over.
it would, yeah, because it would still be in place and done by spring.
That's
We
right,
could
yeah.
still
Yeah.
put all the parts
People
and
are
pieces
too busy in
place.
December.
But then how do we notify them for January?
Pardon?
If we haven't in January,
Oh,
how
I
do we
see.
notify them?
yeah, if the tax bills don't go out till the third week of January.
And then you have to give them 2 or 3 weeks notice.
The meeting will be in February.
And then that'll be in
Okay.
February.
Wow, okay.
It could still have all the checks and balances in place by spring, when people are interested in getting their trailers to
Well, if
their
we just
lots.
have one meeting versus the two.
Yeah.
I mean, the first meeting, there was nobody anyway, we had one. But again, let's just hope like heck, we're not back in a COVID lockdown, because then we are gonna have to delay it.
Can we open it up to Zoom? Because I think some people are down south and that's so,
Oh, yeah.
I think.
That would make it easier
Yeah,
for them anyway.
Yeah, and
In
it's,
February, we would do a hybrid meeting.
yes, the weather could be pretty bad in February, so I think that's a good idea. Okay, well, we should make a date then for February.
Okay.
How long do you think the open house would be? Can we attach it to our February 22nd meeting? No? Okay.
My recommendation
Let's
is
try
to
though.
not do that.
Stand
Okay.
alone,
All right,
like we did the last time.
okay.
Yeah.
And it
So,
doesn't have to be on a Tuesday.
no, okay,
It could be on a Thursday.
okay. Because the 1st and the 8th, I will not be able to make it.
So if we were to do the, how about February 17th?
We can get it on Valentine's Day. Okay,
We shoot for February 17th, prior to the notice.
I know that's late. I would like to see it next week.
Yeah, I
Yes,
know.
yes. Tom would like to see it next week. too.
Yeah.
So would I. I'd like
Yeah.
to get this
It's
over
just
with.
been
Yeah.
dragging
I would like
on
to get it
and
over
on.
with too, but just the logistics.
Do we have many people, followers on Facebook or anything?
We don't have a Facebook page for the township.
What about,
It's the fire department that has a Facebook page.
do you have very many followers?
We do, but I don't believe that you get all.
No, they're not
You wouldn't get
website,
everybody. No, you wouldn't get everybody. No.
And they're not residents?
a lot of them.
Okay,
What time are we looking at?
What time do you want? So it's started at 4 in the afternoon, or do you want to get earlier, later? It's going to be hybrid, so people can zoom in, they can send in their comments by mail.
they can show up in person, you think?
Yeah, so I think what we'll be able to do by doing it hybrid, we'll be able to, if we choose to do it here, we'd have one come in at a time, go in one door and out the other. But if it's hybrid too, we have to remember, we have to give them a time slot, so you'd have a 5, 10, whatever council decides, so we'd have to book the slots.
And this way it gives us time.
Okay.
So I guess it would be, depend on how many people wanted to zoom in, would be, if you do 10 minutes, that'd be 6 an hour.
So if we started it at 5 PM, potentially be finished by 7, but we could leave it open-ended to
But
see how
if
much.
people book their time,
Mhm.
you might not have to be here at 5 o'clock. The first one starts,
We would start looking at 5 o'clock.
oh yeah, we start booking at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, And I was thinking that if people didn't, say they want to come in at 7:30.
No, we won't book appointments, we'll tell them where they're slotted.
Okay.
I guess my only concern in another meeting is people are gonna say, why didn't you make the decision? You know, when we had all the input before, you know, we had people come in with 2 chances, they give us their thoughts. They're gonna say, why can't you make a decision? Why are you procrastinating?
Well, what I've heard is we're making the decision against the trailer people.
Yeah,
We're not doing, so this way, we're saying we're gonna give both sides a chance,
yeah.
and then we'll make a decision.
That's the feedback we're getting.
Yeah,
We need to give both sides the opportunity.
Yeah, well, both sides were there at the last, there was mostly against. But there were some people that said, yeah, we want it. The one people said, we want it for our family to come up. You know, I talked to them personally.
mhm.
So if there was a chance for both sides to be there, it
It's,
just happened the people against it were the most vocal.
Yeah.
It's just that we're dragging it out and out, and we've already had 2 chances for people to bring it forward. Now we're getting a 3rd, so what are we going to end up with?
They're just trying to get it right.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if we're still getting
Sometimes,
inquiries, I
yeah.
think it's,
Sometimes it takes a little longer to get it, make it as equitable for everybody as possible.
well,
The inquiries still coming in are still about the septics and the setbacks for the trailers.
You know,
Are the 2
so are
biggest
we
ones.
going to have a new resolution or a new set of rules there saying this is what we anticipate?
well, the proposal was the one
Proposal?
that we received from Jamie the last time, that was 100 feet back from the water.
yes, that's right.
That kind of thing, so that's a proposal, I think.
That's the zoning bylaw amendment we're moving forward.
Yeah.
That's right.
Council.
That was the one
Yes.
we were
So
going.
that's what we're gonna float, is 100
Okay.
feet back from the water, septic and whatever.
So we have to go through the regulated notice period. The zoning bylaw amendment is a larger deal for this.
Okay, so this will be incorporating the changes to the zoning bylaw and bringing forward the trailer bylaw.
We can't bring forward the trailer bylaw until we have the zoning bylaw amendment completed. And then the trailer bylaw will happen.
So when's the trailer, maybe I'm getting mixed up. When are we going to do the zoning bylaw?
The zoning bylaw amendment open house for these
It'll be
comments will
after the
be in
open
February.
house, so this, okay. Then so will there be another one for the trailer?
I
No,
wasn't
No.
anticipating that. The comments and concerns were about the requirements for the zoning bylaw,
Right.
not for the
Okay.
trailer licensing.
Okay,
so we might be able to, February, whatever, get enough input that we
Yeah.
can make a decision after that.
Mhm.
And I think right now, we're leaning, I can't say that. Right now, I'm leaning to the 100 feet
Mhm.
and septic.
Yeah.
But, now, as soon as we float that, we're gonna get the other people that are gonna come in and say, not at all,
Mhm.
So we'll hear both sides and then we'll make a decision, which may or may not be popular. It's not gonna be popular with everybody, we know
It
that
won't
for
be,
sure.
and I just read an article, there was one northern municipality, and they just put their hands up and they walked away from the trailer bylaw, they just,
I've heard about
Yeah,
that from
yeah.
more than.
Yeah.
so it's not an easy one to put forward.
No, It's just that we have a problem with,
Yes, well, we
Lots and
have
lots
so
of
many
trailers.
lakes out here, and it's a tourist, and it's a hunting area, it's
Everything
it's gotta be dealt
recreational.
with, yes, it's
Yeah.
gotta be dealt with, yeah,
so many existing trailers now.
Yeah.
yes.
Especially in the
Okay.
last year.
Well, we'll go with that date then. And hopefully we'll be able to resolve it.
The other item that I had is, we'll discuss at the December 7th council meeting, but I will need input from councillor on volunteer appreciation. We can't have dinner, we can't do what we normally do. So do you want us to go ahead and look at gifts?
when do we normally do that? Would we normally have done this in December this year? In October, yeah.
October, yeah.
Past, yeah.
But see, the other thing though, we used to do it because as of January, you could put in your papers.
Right,
So we did it way before, so we couldn't look at, you were, sucking votes.
that's right,
Well, now you can't put your papers in till May,
right.
so that may open a
Extended a little,
window
yes,
in the new year. It may. Or COVID will get worse and there'll be no window and we'll be looking at gifts or whatever. So that's what we have to think about at the December meeting.
yeah.
What do we do for our volunteers? Because they're hard to come by.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you.
Yeah, we are looking at a gift, and could you supply us, Chris, with what the volunteer dinner normally costs?
We were looking at between 3,500.
Okay.
That includes all the firefighters and volunteers.
Okay, do you have a rough idea of the number of
We have a list. Kristen's been in charge of this one.
Kristen?
Yeah, I don't have the list with me because I wasn't 100% sure that we were gonna be talking about this
Right.
tonight.
Do you have a rough number in your head?
What, 23 firefighters?
It's about 26 firefighters or so.
Will should know this, 26.
26? Yeah. I would say it's probably closer to like 55, 60, maybe more than that,
Okay,
give or take. I didn't go through and count them, but
okay,
yeah.
But Kristen has started the research into different gifts. And things
okay,
that
that's
could
good.
be
Okay.
at different price
Yeah,
points.
as long as we're under that, what we would normally,
Yes, that's what we're
Yeah,
looking
okay.
at. So I think Kristen will have something to bring forward to present to council
All
on
right.
December 7th.
it's good.
Now, was there anything else, Chris, you wanted to?
My written staff report really coincides with the agenda. So
Yeah.
we don't-
Okay, are there any other questions for staff then? If not, we'll go to committee reports and we'll go to council work. Oh, good for you. Good for you. Councilor Marching,
Nothing.
good for you.
Well, one thing they did ask for our, we have to have the double vaccinations to attend the meetings that we do. And so we had to sign a form.
At the source water?
and Prove vaccination for the source water.
Okay,
So they are asking that, we had to fill out the form.
will they give you the opportunity to zoom in if you,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you want to attend the meetings, or you can have an exemption.
Okay.
They are asking for it.
yeah,
A lot of places.
a lot of them are now, so yeah.
Okay, Councilor Kirky,
Library, we couldn't get a forum on our last meeting. I think three of us zoomed in. And we didn't have enough for quorum, so
Oh, wow,
no meeting.
that's unusual.
I know,
Yeah.
so we are going to go ahead for the last week of this month and see how that plays out.
Hmm,
well, good luck with that.
yeah,
And that is unusual.
yeah, very, I've never encountered that with the library board.
So Councilor Scott,
I haven't had any meetings.
okay. Well, we had an East Hill meeting. In fact, we have one again tomorrow. The Candidate Infrastructure Program. Architects anticipate tender documents will be ready this month. Mechanical engineers need to reset flow dampers and ductwork in the old building. The center block will need to be reinforced to add heavier units. Temporary wage enhancement was extended until October 31st. And I haven't heard anything since. They've had to now, government mandate, they have to hire an infection control personnel or person. They're looking at an increase in staffing allowance per day because you're going they lost several employees due to the vaccination rule. And there's no testing, no exemption. And so they lost several, so they're adding, right now, all they can do is add 3 hours to each shift. So some people are doing 11 hours, 12s are doing 15, things like that. And they continue to try to hire new, and I have that in the next. For their systems and programs, they've signed with a vendor to computerize, I'd automate, computerize the pay system. They're gonna have to run two parallel systems for 2 periods, just to make sure that somebody doesn't get paid or somebody gets twice as much. They're actually trying a subledger to work, and because of all this, they have to improve the network, because the network won't handle the extra whatever. Staffing, presently, there are PSW and RPN placements at the home from Canadore and, the other that I can't think of. Yes, CTS. And operationally, they're testing at the front door now, only from 1 to 4. Insurance, like our municipal, the insurance has increased minimum of 15%, and we've lost 25% of our coverage. So they said it's only a 15% increase. But if you lose a quarter of your coverage,
It's a lot bigger than that.
it's a lot bigger than that.
I didn't see that too.
That's in the liability.
Yeah, we had an umbrella and it's gone.
You
And the HR consultant is going to help with recruiting. And we have new staffing strategies and communications underway. And as of November 15th, that was staff service workers must be vaccinated. And I believe we lost around 8 in overall departments. So, and again, we didn't have enough staff in the first place. So it's hard, and now you hear Eau Chateau has an outbreak. So it's scary. And you look at the nurses, yesterday we're in Toronto, they get a 1% increase, and they're not happy, and they're right, they're leaving the profession. Just 2, and I don't know if I mentioned it last time, we had a nurse on probation. She was offered $14,000 more to go to Elliott Lake, just a straight payout.
Wow.
So 14,000, and if you read the Omega News about the doctor shortage, when Sunridge went to recruit in Kitchener, and they thought they were great, they went down with a $25,000 check to get a new doctor, and their answer was at a zero,
I believe that, yeah.
250,000.
Oh, yeah.
That's the bonus before they're gonna come up here.
Yeah.
So it's tough sledding, and I applaud the staff there for what they're able to do, you know. And it's just a very difficult time. And I'm sure I'll hear more about it tomorrow. So-
maybe the payroll system will be like the feds and pay them extra.
Maybe.
Or forget that they exist altogether, because the feds are doing that also.
So we'll see. It'll be,
I don't have a question, I have a comment. I'd like to thank the mayor for a good interview in the Omega News about the parking.
well,
Uh,
I got caught. Thanks, Dan. You know, but I just, you know,
it was-
sometimes, I mean, it is what it is. And I
It was
think
good.
that's something we have to do.
Yeah.
And
You told it as it is, and it was good.
we'll see how it
Yeah.
works this winter. And the signage is down here in the agenda, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's move along and adopt the minutes. So I need a mover and a seconder, so Councilor Brewer and Martin. You, so it's number R 2021-238, moved by Councilor Moore, seconded by Councilor Marchant, that the minutes of the meeting held October 19th, 2021 be adopted as published. All in favor? Big check. Now, the next few resolutions here, 3 are the ones that came off the minutes from the last one. And they are long, so I'll try to get to the,
Everyone received copies of these resolutions.
Yeah.
right,
We've read them. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I will read the end of the resolution. So it's number R 2021-239. I need a mover and a seconder. This is for the streamlining of the health care. So mover or seconder, Councillor Kirky and Councillor Scott. So it's number R 2021-239. Now I'm going to go through because it is pages. That therefore be it resolved that the Township of Nipissing supports the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, FONUM's request for Northern Ontario health teams in consultation with municipalities, DSABs and local stakeholders to provide a province-wide strategy that supports such consolidation. And a copy of this resolution be shared with the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities and MPP Vic Fidel. All in favor? Very against. And the next one is school board election day. We can ask, we'll see what happens. This is for October 24th, 2022. So I move in the seconder. Councilors Moore and March. So it's number R 2021-240, moved by Councilor Moore, seconded by Councilor Marchant. Therefore, be it resolved that the Township of Nipissing requests that the Near North District School Board schedule a professional development day on the municipal and school board election day, October 24th, 2022. All in favor? Carried. Against? And the third one was infrastructure. And that we need infrastructure to major bridge and culvert replacement. And there's no doubt about that. So mover in the seconder. Okay, Councillor Kirky and Councillor May. It's number R 2021-241, moved by Councillor Kirky, seconded by Councillor Worth, that the Township of Nipissing supports the Township of Scugog resolution requesting that the province of Ontario and the government of Canada be encouraged to provide more funding for rural municipalities to support infrastructure projects related to major bridge and culvert replacement. All in favor? Carried. Now, number 8, and it's going to be deferred.
Different quotes that will get us double what we're looking for a much better price.
Oh,
So
great.
we'd like to do a bit more investigation and save us a little bit of money.
We all like to save money.
Yeah, for sure.
So definitely. Okay, so the next one is signage to support the parking bylaw for. So I mover and seconder. Councilor Marchant. Councilor Scott. It's number R 2021-242, moved by Councilor Marchant, seconded by Councilor Scott, that we approve the quotation from Cedar Signs for the supply of parking signs and required hardware at a total cost of $1,453.68, including applicable taxes. All in favor? Carried, against. Okay. This is agreement for, as by our bylaw in 2019-11, to sign an agreement for the Municipal Integrity Commission. So we need a mover and a seconder. Okay, Councilor Perky. Councilor Moore. So it's our 2021-243, moved by Councilor Kris, seconded by Councilor Moore. Do we authorize the mayor and the municipal administrator to sign an agreement for municipal integrity commissioner with Harold G. Elston, appointed integrity commissioner for the township by bylaw 2019-11. All in favor? Carried, against.
Just give you $350 an hour.
And you know, it's interesting, I was looking at someone else's, an integrity report, they were $600 an hour.
Really? When we did the RFP, we went out as a group with municipalities. So that's
Yeah,
Yeah, I quite like him too. He explained everything
Yeah.
really well.
very personable.
Yeah.
Okay, we approved the vaccination policy. I know you've all looked at it, and I know we will have dissenters. And when I call for a vote, please, with that to me. And this is pretty standard.
Actually, a lot of municipalities are going for mandatory vaccination, so this was developed so that we could stay away from mandatory vaccinations. To give us options to continue operations.
So we can go to test versus losing people, good people. Any comments or questions?
On page 2, it says September 27th. It's actually page 2 of the policy. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it says required to provide one of the following by September 27th, 2021.
That was the date that it came into place, so we were supposed to. So we'll make that adjustment.
Could I offer an argument?
Yep.
I would argue that not so much an argument, but a suggestion that we defer it until March, until possibly there might be a lifting of stuff here. So we don't have to put a bylaw in place.
Ministry of Labor has made it very clear that it is our responsibility to take every precaution to keep our staff safe. So this is a policy in place that we're sure that we can show that we're doing our due diligence. That's why we put the policy together.
But it's no.
a council decision.
So a mover and a seconder with that correction. Okay, so Councilor Marchand and Councilor Moore. And it's number R 2021-244, moved by Councilor Marchand, seconded by Councilor Moore, that we approve the Township of Nipissing workplace vaccination policy as presented. 4. Okay, checking. Against. Good. Okay. Yeah.
So we're also we've had a few different requests for changes. So I have 3 different resolutions. Right?
Yeah.
Let me see which one. I think this one moves from March So we've had a request for the council meetings in March to move 15th and 29th.
Right, and the question was, for you, the counselors, the 15th is March break, and I don't know if that has any effect on you, like traditionally we stayed away from March break. But if it has no effect on you, we'll move the meeting to March 15th. And so we'll go, instead, we would have normally had it on the 8th. So instead, we'll go to 15th and the 29th.
That works for me.
Is that,
April would also move to the 12th and 26th
and April would move to the 12th and 26th as well.
to accommodate the 2-week gap.
That would work for me also. Thank
So-
you.
So we could do
Well-
anything with January, February.
Yeah.
6, and everything, okay, everything stays the same up until then?
And the November change. to
Yeah.
The one meeting on the 15th, which is when the new council term would begin.
So the new council will be sworn in on November 15th.
Sorry, what dates were we
What was
looking at?
it? What were the April dates? I was.
Yeah.
April is April 12th and 26th.
And what was the March again?
March is 15th and 29th,
Great.
November 15th.
and November 15th.
What's the problem with that?
Everybody good?
No. It doesn't affect any deadlines or anything, so.
No.
so,
But the first ones are, we're looking at budget meetings and that kind of thing. That's why they had to stay put. But other than that, we're good then. So,
And I will send out a list of the council meetings, so you'll have an actual list
Great.
that we also post online.
Okay.
That's all straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, so we're good with that. Was there any other question about that? Any dates you weren't sure of?
The rest are all standard anyway, right?
Yeah, and if you don't run, you don't, there's no meeting December 6th, December 20th.
Yeah, so deer season would open the 7th and the 14th.
Yeah.
Or the 6th,
7,
7th, first Monday.
first Monday.
Yeah.
7.
You just throw your weight down to the first week. Anyway, a mover and seconder, Councilor Kirky, and I'll go with Councilor Wood. Or I'll do this. Okay. Okay, and number,
That one will be.
so it's number R 2021-245, moved by Councilor Kirky, seconded by Councilor Moore, that we accept the 2022 council meeting schedule as written. All in favor? Carried, and you will get a copy.
So I can transpose it to my fridge.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, we are to number 13.
It just came to my attention that we are getting comments on our YouTube channel right now. Kris Johnston asking about a recreation committee meeting or a museum meeting to be rescheduled. So I was just wanting to put that out there, that if we could have some meeting dates for the public.
Yeah, well, we won't be meeting for the museum until the spring, of course. And I think Brenda, I think we put something out about that. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I will resend that out. We will not be looking
I think I got
until
some.
March or April.
Oh, I might have got it on here though.
Yes,
so
yes.
Chris might not have.
No, he would get it
Oh,
too.
yeah. he
Yes,
would have
yeah.
got it.
So, but yeah, we can work on those dates. Yep.
Certainly, okay, and I was just putting that. Okay, thank you.
Good, okay.
So these are the words. This part right here, please.
Okay, so we're moving on to number 13. This part of our meeting is declared a public meeting pursuant to the provisions of section 3412 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, to discuss an application for a change to the zoning bylaw 2020-20 by the township of Nipissing. Okay, John Paul, would you care to speak?
Just the notice for that one there is the application affects lands on 678 Sunset Cove Road. And the purpose and effect of the proposed amendment is to rezone a portion of the subject property from rural zone to site-specific special zone to permit ice hut and ice bungalow storage on the northwest portion of the subject property. So if you know where Birch Grove and Sunset Cove is, where they intersect, there's a corner there across from the township parking lot. He's looking to rezone that so we can store ice bungalows on it. He's looking at about 40 huts, which would be, well, 40 ice bungalows that will be put in the bylaw. Now, there is 2 letters on file. I can read them. Just the 2, so one person that wrote in, it was named by one, they said regarding the rezoning of a portion of the subject property from rural to site-specific special zone to permit ice hut and ice bungalow storage on the northwest portion of the subject property, it is my opinion, as long as sufficient buffering or screening of the ice huts and ice bungalows from the public views from the roads at Sunset Cove Road and Birch Grove Road, I would have no objection. I believe that in all season buffering of vegetation with both evergreen deciduous plantings be preserved or supplemented to create buffering. If sufficient existing evergreen plantings are not present, new evergreen species should be planted to achieve a visual barrier. Additionally, it may be necessary to broaden the proposed setbacks of 24.73 meters on both roads to ensure an adequate visual buffer. And the other letter that got wrote in is, this letter is in support of the application, which would permit the storage of ice huts and bungalows as described in the public notice. The ice bungalow industry is an important economy within the township. Amending the bylaw to permit the storage of ice huts and bungalows on rural properties currently 2, provided the property owner enters into a site plan control agreement, provides the township a degree of control that's currently not available, allows outfitters a method of compliance. The application for 678 Sunset Cove Road is indicated a proposed buffer setback of approximately 80 feet from municipal roads and the site plan provided. I trust that this area will remain a natural, well-treated buffer zone. Now, in the zoning bylaw amendment, we have asked, though, like within the draft bylaw, that it seems the theme is for buffering, and we have put that into the bylaw, that on the a minimum vegetative buffer of 25 meters will be required along the westerly property boundary adjacent to Sunset Cove Road. So that's at least 25 meters or 82 feet from the property boundary. So to the center line of the road would be about 35. So it's quite a bit. That's where the properties are, where the letters come from. They're about 35 from center line to the property. And from the northern boundary, you have a minimum vegetative buffer of 15 meters, which is about 50 feet. But that's on the northern property boundary adjacent to Birch Grove Drive West. So that's where the parking lot is across the street. But they are still allowing a buffer area there for about 50 feet. So they are putting a vegetative buffer around the property.
Sorry, the question.
Yes, please.
The vegetative buffer, what do we put in a requirement, what they're putting in? It could be grass or milkweed, or it could be spruce.
Just as the bylaw, like they have to have a vegetative buffer, so they shouldn't be cutting those trees, or the township.
Because it's all tag alters right there.
Yeah.
That's what the buffer is already. And when we were doing the work up there, it's all tag alters, so there is a good buffer there already.
And as John Paul mentioned, this is right across from our parking lot.
Yeah.
So it's not residential, it's a parking lot, and hopefully, hopefully others will do the same, because again, our bylaw says 1 ice hut
Yeah.
per house, and this gentleman has taken the time to go to a planner, get the information, and is doing this legally and to the best of his ability. So I applaud him for doing things right, rather than just throwing in 40 ice huts and
Yeah.
saying,
And
what are you gonna do about it?
Absolutely.
my only concern is it says a minimum buffer is required. It doesn't say it must be maintained.
Yeah,
Well, the buffer itself will probably to some degree maintain itself. It'll just grow thicker.
But what happens if, he takes and cuts down the tag holders and
Well, he's
allows
told
grass
to-
so we can get, I know there's a minimum of 40 or maximum of 40, but I would think that the vegetative buffer should be required to remain.
Well, yeah, if you require a vegetative buffer, it's
It has
gotta
to
be there
stay,
all the time. If that
It's
vegetative buffer
required, but doesn't
starts to
say-
go away, then the township, we step in and deal with it at that point.
Because it's required. It's
Yeah.
not
It's,
just-
it's a requirement.
But it doesn't really say what. I figured that the people want the buffer so that it can't be seen. And so, if it said the existing vegetative buffer is required to maintain. But it doesn't, what happens if they mow all the tag holders down? Then that's not fitting into
Then
the
he's
one
taking-
person's objective.
And
It
he's
says a
taking down the buffer.
vegetative buffer is required, it didn't say what it is.
Yeah, but he's taking away he's taking away his requirements under the bylaw.
It doesn't say what vegetative buffer is required. It just, vegetation goes from grass to right up to
True.
tree, it could be anything.
I think,
Like the people are wanting, they said no objections if there's a buffer that, so the ice sets couldn't be seen.
I think with the hoops that he's jumping through to do this right, I think we're in pretty good shape believing that he's gonna take care of that buffer and maintain it.
I don't trust a lot of people these days. I don't know. I commend the guy for putting that as in. It's a good thing, not just going ahead and doing it like. most
Well,
people would.
I've seen what he's done to the place since he bought it. I think we've all seen
Right.
pretty much what he's done to the place. He's digging in for the long haul.
Yeah.
And he's upgraded everything on the place since he's moved in.
No, listen, I'm just concerned that, people wanted the buffer and that it remains there as is. If it's a tag holders that cover up the ice sets.
Can we call it a
I'm-
privacy buffer, or can we put an extra word in there?
I don't,
I don't know.
we'd have to go back to the planner to put another.
Oh, I see. Well,
But
To me, it's just vegetative barrier.
I understand your
Very
argument,
loose term.
I don't think he would do anything.
I don't think he did,
No.
but if he sells it to somebody in 5 years, what are they gonna do?
Then we will have to enforce it.
But how do you enforce that? If the person cuts them down and he leaves grass there, that's a vegetative barrier.
And then we're gonna have to amend the amended zoning bylaw and say you have to have a 12-foot gravel buffer, or you have to have a, coniferous.
But yeah, but if they buy it, the zoning will already be changed.
But again, we can change with it.
Do it, but then we'll end up in court.
I don't think we're gonna have an issue here.
No.
But maybe I'm just too trusting, but I know what this guy's done. And, again, I think he will do the best. And I think if we just speak to him, I don't think there'll be an issue.
not to mention he was born and raised in the township.
Yep.
And this is where I suspect he's not upgrading the property to flip it. This is his long haul. It's his home, so.
Well, we'll try it this way and we'll see. I'll move her into second. Okay. And I will talk to the general as well. In ex officio capacity. We've had this chat before. So number R 2021-246, moved by Councilor Kirkby, seconded by Councilor Scott, that we pass bylaw number 2021-52, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 2020 as amended. Read a first, second, and third time and pass this 16th day of November, depending on. All in favor? And against? Carried. And the user fee bylaw. And we know this went out and
There was just one addition that we put in yesterday for the carpet.
That's, I was going through it trying to find what the change was, and you had mentioned carpet. I read it.
yeah,
It wasn't there, but it is.
I
We
couldn't
sent it
find
out
it.
yesterday.
Well, I know, I got 2 copies of it here because I sat them beside each other.
It's hard to come up with all the wording for all the different items that we might come up with, so we actually asked the staff to give us a list. So I think we've captured the majority of it, and it's given them a better judge of how to price effectively, so that we can sign it
Yeah.
effectively.
And I understand that carpet and floor, linoleum, laminar, whatever, that could be an issue because it's plastics. All of it.
Older stuff was asbestos.
is- Yeah,
won't even see that.
We do not accept hazardous materials in our landfill.
so. Anyway. No, it makes sense. It makes good sense, actually.
There are still a few other fees that I'd like to break into and put under the umbrella, but we're working on making it into one document.
So the proposal here is to accept this document as it stands with the potential for future
We
expansion.
change it usually every year. We look at the different
Oh,
things.
yeah, okay.
Because every year something else will come up.
Mhm.
Or if costs change, or we do an analysis.
And there might be potentially down the road where something gets taken off the list because there is a recycling track for it. Okay.
Speaking of that, I'm sure we talked about it at the last meeting about the mattresses. I think we talked about a cottage, there were piles of them there. We did look into the North Bay Mattress Exchange Program,
I'm
right?
still working with that.
Okay, because I just read something and, yeah, if we could pay a fee
Yeah.
to have
I'm waiting hear
ours.
back from Michelle.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for a year.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good, because I think that's a good way, like we do for our dangerous goods, to
Absolutely.
work with them and get rid of the mattresses, especially if the program is there.
If we can work out a way to get some mattresses from here too.
Yeah, because it sounds like they want the mattresses. They ship them out to Montreal and they really want the mattresses. They take them apart and they send the different parts of the mattresses to different countries where
What's
they reuse them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's a recycling.
Yes, it's a
program itself,
recycling
yeah.
program. So we wouldn't take any mattresses if North Bay would allow us
Yeah.
to tag on to that program.
Because mattresses are a fair chunk of
Yeah.
landfill.
It's a
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
part of our
Yeah.
shredding, and we would love to divert them.
Yeah.
It's hard, like, it jams up the shredder a lot.
Yeah,
'Cause
Well,
the
everything's-
springs and,
Yeah.
High tempered steel inside of it.
yeah, it just doesn't mulch up, right?
Yeah.
It just comes out, it takes all the stuffing out, but then all the spring material gets caught up.
But it still doesn't break down.
No, and, yeah, it's too, by the time it's done mulching, we can't get the steel, like the spring steel out of there. It just gets dozed in.
Chris, does North Bay a landfill, does the city of North Bay, do they ship the mattresses out? Or does somebody from Montreal come to pick them up?
I don't know. I'm still
Okay.
waiting for information.
Somebody from Montreal comes to fix
Do
it.
they? Okay, well, we can get on that, like,
Yeah,
We're working on it.
we're working on it. I've arranged trucking, just gotta wait till Michelle's finished, or talking to Michelle, but
great.
I've already kind of arranged trucking to take it to North Bay, so we don't, it'd be nice to arrange when the truck comes in, we bring our mattresses, so they're not
Mhm.
burdened with them.
That's right. And it would be nice, and we would have to probably limit when mattresses can be dropped off so we can transport them.
Yeah.
There'd be a small window there for them.
Yeah,
Okay.
Now, is there a fee for that
for
or?
for going to North Bay, yeah, I think it's $12 a mattress, or
Yeah.
$14 a mattress.
Yeah.
Plus
So we
our-
could-
Plus we
Plus our
gotta truck
costs
them.
for bringing them, so that would be compensated by the $25 a mattress fee that we
Yeah.
charge.
Okay, but yeah, and then it's just not going into our landfill.
Right.
It's just
That's right.
diverted completely.
it's a win-win. As this new circular economy comes into place, we're seeing more and more programs starting.
Right.
So we'll be jumping on those as soon as we.
Well, another option for us too would have the consumer bring the mattress into North Bay
That is
themselves.
something that we can look at.
If they're getting them to the landfill, they can get them to North Bay.
They're buying them in North Bay,
Yeah,
taking them to North
that's
Bay.
what I
We'll
say.
Continue to investigate for sure.
Great, thank you.
My only one is still that watercraft, but I'll let it go. I still think it's too much for a canoe.
Hmm.
Well, are there any other comments or questions? Because if not, I'll call for vote. Do I have a mover and seconder? Okay. Councilor Curtin and Councilor Moore. And again, remember, this consider a living document then?
Yes. We're constantly looking at the.
We're gonna, so we will revisit this probably
needed.
yearly.
Yeah, oh, no doubt.
Yeah, we do usually.
Well, if something comes up throughout the year that we can make an amendment on this, will that be coming up?
Absolutely. Yep.
also?
Yeah.
Okay.
We changed our notice bylaw. It used to be that we had to advertise it in the newspaper and different things, but we had changed our notice bylaw to include our website and social media and notices on the office so that we can get the word out without going to the newspaper.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier for us to move
Well,
forward.
it's kind of stepping into the 21st century with electronic media anyway, so.
So it's number R 2021-247, moved by Councilor Kirky, seconded by Councilor Moore, that we pass bylaw number 2021-53, being a bylaw to provide for fees charged by the corporation of the Township of Nipissing, read a first, second, and third time, and passed the 16th day of November 2021. All in favor? Against? Carried. Right. So this is bylaw to appoint an auditor licensed under the Public Accountancy Act. I think we saw the comparisons between the two local, not the local.
So our previous auditor.
Yes.
Previous
yeah.
auditor.
And the fees charged up to the time that we switched.
And I checked with another auditor and they were substantially higher than both.
Wow.
When I was speaking to, actually, I went to a meeting in Sudbury for the ANC 207, and I spoke to our auditor there. And we were talking about how their fees are going to increase up to 17%, because they think it's, that they're having the same problems as everyone else.
Yeah.
So the fees were rolling up, so I'm saying.
I
Give
know
us a
that
quote now, we'll lock it in.
We do an awful lot of our own legwork though, and we do our own financial information return, so that also helps with our fees.
I know that
Yeah.
there is an accounting office in North Bay that does municipal audits and all of that. And they're down to 3 people from 15,
It's-
And
it's
they're,
priceless, right?
and they're 7th largest in the world.
Wow.
So,
But with the fees, I thought that we were still well. within
Oh, it looked good, yeah.
where we should be.
So a mover and seconder, please. Councilor Marchant and Councilor Scott.
And with this firm, we always have them, like, all year round. They're not just here for the audit. Whenever there's a question, we just have. to-
Yeah.
It's good.
well, we have a North Bay office, so.
Yes.
So it's number R 2021-248, moved by Councilor Marchant, seconded by Councilor Scott. That we pass bylaw number 2021-54, being a bylaw to appoint an auditor licensed under the Public Accountancy Act for the Township of Nipissing, read a first, second, and third time, passed the 16th day of November 2021. All in favor? changed.
Next is the emergency plan, just for discussion. I'll let Will discuss what's going to happen at the December 7th meeting.
So the emergency plan, it was that on the very end of our, well, it was at the end of my package, because I got correspondence after. And it was
A long read.
a long read.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Hasn't been revised.
it hasn't been revised, but I know, it kept coming back to me. For some reason, I think I had a copy of that at one time and you might have lived.
Yes. I probably still have it.
Everybody should have received.
Yeah.
So, a number of changes, but, and the thing that changes the most, I know when John Paul did it, was everybody's name changed every year. It seems
Yeah.
like.
Guarantee.
Guaranteed.
Goes right up.
So we took those out, and that's just for staff. We don't need to know who to call.
No, so that we can just, we know how to start the calling protocol and it's through dispatch, so.
So Will, was there something you wanted to mention?
No, so on the 7th, what we'll have to do is we'll have to look over a few things. The one will be our system events. So right now, these are double-sided. Disease number 1 is wind. Pardon me?
Tyler?
Yep.
It's probably it's in an appendix. I don't think it was circulated. with
Oh,
us.
shoot. you didn't. Okay, so we'll have to look at that. I think public health is gonna move up probably to number 1. But that's gonna be a decision we'll all have to make.
Okay.
And then we'll just drop everything down. We'll move public health up and drop everything else down 1.
Because the other things are still possible.
And then there's just some housekeeping items that we have to do every year, as John Paul usually does that.
So now you'll be taking over that tabletop?
Yep.
My only comment was a highlight on page 4. That blue really.
I know,
sucks.
I thought I took it over there.
I couldn't see it. Yeah, looking at
Oh,
it.
shoot. I
Yeah, I
apologize.
saw that after.
Taking my eyeballs.
We were using that to bounce items off each other, Chris and I,
Okay,
and I guess I apologize. Thought we took
No,
all the
I thought we
highlights
took
out.
it too, but we were having some issues with the program. But that's just where we changed how we were going to start the calling procedure, so. We were having some discussion
Oh,
about the
4,
word.
3, 2.
yeah.
So when you get the final document, it won't have any of the highlights. So you'll be able to.
I didn't print mine in color, so I'm good.
I was good too.
See, I came in and got mine, so I could be blinded.
I think from the time that this initiated back in 2006, I believe is when these things started. A lot of things have changed because we've gone through emergencies and we've worked through them. So now all of it has changed how we're responding. And that's what the updates to the plan show, is that staff will take a bigger stand.
And also we got rid of names.
Yeah.
So instead of the sergeant of the OPP, it's a representative of the OPP. Or a representative of emergency services, EMS. So before it was listed as a manager.
Right,
Well, it's just, we need a representative.
right.
Because in an emergency, we don't know who.
Yeah, you want,
You just want somebody here, yeah.
And that's the same as the call out list. Instead of having a person, we have notify OPP, they'll send us the proper person. Notify Hydro One, they'll send the appropriate person to us.
Vacations and people sick with COVID. And,
Well,
I don't know who you're going.
that saves us a lot of waiting for the appropriate person to get to their office, because I can remember in bad old days calling Northern Communications, and they had to wait for a manager to come in.
Wow.
Or you get the voicemail, this person is no longer here.
Yeah, they retired
Or
7 years ago.
So,
It just helped us to.
That
update.
makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
that's good housekeeping on that, so.
but everything looked okay, like,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. We will proceed for the December 17th.
Okay, so we'll move on to correspondence. Is there anything more than 4 I had?
No.
So blue green algae bloom in Ruth Lake.
It's the first one that we've had reported there.
And then Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, the funding, and it just,
Was increased from last year.
so that's a positive. One of the things that we asked for was stability in funding, not way up, way down, because we're budgeting on this, we're counting on that money.
Mhm.
So, I mean, going up is a positive.
Yeah.
Minutes of the Golden Sunshine Municipal Nonprofit Housing Corporation. There to read. Then the last one, minutes of the Town of Perry Sound EMS Advisory Committee. And we discussed that last year, when we had that levy in the middle of the year
Yeah.
for 13%. If you read this, they
Second
pointed
last
out
page.
that there's a accumulated surplus of $274,928 that they're putting into
It's a reserve for.
right, in
Reserve, Jason's a
reserve.
deficit, yeah.
And then they're going to take out though 120,000 from reserves to the operating budget.
When we get money.
And
And then they're turning around and charging a 6.2 levy increase. That there's absolutely nothing we can do about it.
No, they have a surplus.
Wow.
So
So where's stuff padding their surpluses?
yeah. So it seems. And I know we've asked about this in the past, and I mean, it's there, and our representative can question it. But, I mean, they've passed it, they'll pass it on to us, and there's nothing there that says this is COVID funding or anything, because I know East Home is gonna come out, they're gonna put down COVID funding.
they did it this year too, so that we were able to use our COVID
So
funds.
we can use COVID funds to cover that part, so we don't take the 6.2%, but this is the minutes of the Town of Perry Sound EMS. So
We'll review whatever documents we can get on their budget. And
Yeah.
and see if we can't use some of our COVID funding to stabilize our. That's what we put it there for, so we will try.
Yeah, because we have to eliminate the wild cards on our taxes because it throws a monkey wrench.
We had the budget.
We can't do
Yeah.
future budgeting with it.
No.
it's pretty tough, you know.
The cost of living hasn't gone up 6.9%. I know it's
No.
high, but it hasn't gone up.
Before, but we'll talk about that at the next meeting too, sorry, that time of year. But yes, there's going to be considerable increases, but we do have reserves in place so that we can stabilize the tax rates so that we don't get impacted
Yeah,
too hard all at once.
But if it keeps continuing year after year,
well,
this,
You're right.
and
the reserves are gold.
at some point, we have to hold those people's feet to the fire
Yeah,
to mitigate that. You can't just let them willy-nilly fire a figure off at you.
It's surprising, people from Phnom have not put a resolution through
Yeah,
because it's probably happening in other EMS areas. Once the word's out that they're putting it up. Surprising there hasn't been a resolution asking health why.
We can look into other areas.
yeah, is it going on in other areas? We don't know. Yeah, a good point.
We
Tom.
haven't done any of that research.
Yeah.
So we can certainly try.
Yeah,
Okay, so, yes.
Unless they do that, they try to do.
Okay, I think for David, we, to accept the correspondence, mover in the, okay. Well, good work, you guys. Councilor Marchant, Councilor Moore. You're gonna have to be quicker on that stand up there, Councilor Scott. So, it's number 2021-249. Moved by Councilor Marchant, seconded by Councilor Moore, that we accept the correspondence as presented. All in favor? Carried. Against? Which brings us to the statement of accounts. Yeah, it's not. So, mover, don't you put your head down, Councilor Scott, and get your hand up. Councilor Scott and Councilor Mark, or no, Mark did the last one, so Councilor Kirkland, thank you. In the old days, we used to slide the papers, but you're too far away.
Yeah.
They'd all be on the ground. I'd have to put my mask on, and bring them to you. It's number R 2021-250, moved by Councilor Kirkland, seconded by Councilor Scott, that the statement of accounts dated October 27th and 29th, November 10th and 12th, 2021, totaling $178,324.73 be approved. All in favor? Carried. Against? Okay. Last two of the evening. Confirming bylaw, mover and seconder, Councilor Moore, and thank you, Councilor Scott. This is our 2021-251, moved by Councilor Moore, seconded by Councilor Scott, that we passed bylaw number 2021-55, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on November 16, 2021, read the first, second, and third time and passed this 16th day of November 2021. All in favor? Carried. Against?
Wait till the next one.
The adjournment one. Mover and the second, Councilor Kirky, thank you. The seconder, Councilor Moore. He knows that the power steering fluid is leaking out of my truck.
Yep.
As we speak.
I don't want to have to push it around the corner.
You just have to help me steer.
Is it a power steering issue lately?
Yep. It's number R 2021-252, moved by Councilor Kirky, seconded by Councilor Moore, that the meeting be adjourned at 8:05 p.m. Next regular meeting to be held December 7th, 2021. All in favor? Against? I want to thank you all for. Wow, it's 5 o'clock.